8:22 a.m. Thanks so much for joining us on Morning Live Sport. Now, South Africa's under-20 national team, Amajita, they've made football history on Sunday night by securing their first Caf Under-20 Africa Cup of Nations title. And they arrived this morning at OR Tambo International Airport at 10 a.m. The South Africans beat Morocco 1-0 in the final in Cairo in Egypt on Sunday, with Mamelodi Sundowns star Homolemo Kekana scoring a superb winner in the 70th minute. So on this story, Amajita have indeed flown the country's flag sky high, and they've added to the excellence associated with many of our sporting codes. Mamelodi Sundowns are 2 matches away from adding to the country's glory with that Caf Champions League first leg of that final taking place on Saturday. So to talk to us about all things football, we have roped in SABC Sports senior reporter Velile Mnyandu. He's been covering both Amajita and Sundowns from Egypt. In fact, he's still in Egypt, I believe. Velile, thanks so much for joining us. You've been in Egypt for a while, actually, looking at, I suppose, both young and older. It must be quite a nice, perhaps it's a juxtaposition to see, we've got so much talent in this under-20 space, and then you've been seeing how Sundowns has been performing in the Caf Champions League. I think just give us a sense of your perspective having this this position and looking at these 2 teams.
Yeah, no, I think when I look at the success that we've enjoyed here in Egypt, thanks for this opportunity, Stacey. It also talks to how South African football has also matured at this space. Earlier on, we were talking about, yesterday I was invited by the Al Ali TV team, and this is also talking to the success of South African teams here in Egypt. If you look in this Amajita team, you look at players who are coming, 3 players coming from Sundowns, 4 coming from Kaizer Chiefs, just different teams. And most of these players, especially in the Amajita, in the starting lineup, playing in top flight football in the PSL, be it for Chiefs, for Sundowns, or Stellenbosch, or even Cape Town City. And I think for me, this has played a big role in our team achieving here, and obviously a majority of the players playing in the DDC.
I mean, in fact, I think it was Raymond Mdaka that spoke about, the quality coming through, and the DDC does play a pivotal role. There's so many names that are still not even in this team that have been performing at the highest level. There's Campbell, there's Mbukazi. In fact, Rele Mofokeng is 20 years old as well in that age group. Do you think it's pure DDC, or do you think it's even younger structures that are now finally in football starting to come to the fore in South Africa?
Yeah, I think and this is a very important question that you're asking, because we've had a lot of people saying that why does selection seem to be confined in Gauteng or at some big clubs? And one of the things that people forget is that not all these players are coming from Gauteng. Homolemo Kekana, for instance, who plays for Sundowns, comes from Limpopo in Zebediela. You have Mbokas who comes from Hluhluwe in KwaZulu-Natal. You have other players like Asalamako, as much as he's from SuperSport United, but he comes from Cape Town and also in the Eastern Cape, in Kumbu. So you have this situation where players are excelling for teams at the lower level, but then they will be scouted and selected by teams with better academies. And if you are looking at players who are going to play at this level, the coaching element also becomes very important. So where they are playing becomes also very, very important. So not necessarily that these players are playing for only the big teams or are coming from only the big teams, but where they are originating from, it means that there is something happening in those areas. And this goes for most of the players in this team. I mean, if you look at the likes of Shaquille April coming from Cape Town City, but if you look at where the boy started from as an under 13, under 12 player. He's had a long journey at this level.
I think then we have to speak about Fletcher, particularly his Portuguese citizenship there and the questions that people are asking. But also I saw online his mom talking about the fact that he's worked with Zim legend Panel McCop as well. Talk to us about how he was scouted and what the team is doing in terms of a technical scouting perspective, where they're looking, why they're looking in those areas, and what do you think about the future of Fletcher in South Africa as well?
And Fletcher is just another case in point of how these players have always been part of the structures. When you talk about Fletcher, in fact, there's even a picture that has been doing the rounds of Fletcher with the Jody Ashin.
Yes.
And this is a picture of them still in the under-9 playing for Ubuntu FC Academy. In fact, I think it was a fishhook team that they were playing together. But after that, the two players also played together at Ubuntu Academy. And this is one of the most successful academies in the Western Cape. And then Lazo Marco also, before coming to SuperSport United, also played for that Ubuntu Academy. And these are some of the most successful academies in South African football. And so Fletcher is someone who grew up in South African football structures. He's always been there. That's why it was even easy for the selectors to follow him when his family relocated to Portugal during the COVID time. So we're just talking about something that happened like 5 years ago. So it was not that long. So in as much as, yes, he's had this good development with him when he moved to Portugal to also even play for Benfica and then now Estoril, but he's someone who's been used to the local conditions, and obviously with Henry McCobb, one of the excellent goalkeeper coaches, and also a goalkeeper coach with the Stellenbosch as well as the Zimbabwe national team, the Warriors. So for him, it has not been a difficult thing in terms of acclimatizing and also getting to understand the local players because he grew up with them.
Yeah, did you by any chance get a chance to chat to him and see, what is he feeling? Does he, especially after winning? I mean, the last time we won this particular tournament, the under 20, was 1997, and now this is obviously a high that he's experiencing in his career. Is this something that's tipping him towards staying in South Africa, perhaps getting international exposure, but, he finds himself loyal to South Africa?
In fact, this is our first ever success at junior international team level.
Yeah.
Whether be it under 17 or under 20. But this is just our first time that we're continental champions. Back in 1997, we lost 1-0 to Morocco, a team that had the likes of Mzunane Mgwekwi, Stanton Fredericks, Matthew Booth. Benny McCarthy was a top goal scorer in the tournament, but unfortunately was suspended, so he didn't play there under Sheikh Mashaba in the final. But I've spoken to most of the players, including Fletcher that we're talking about, who's now also the goalkeeper of the tournament as well. And in fact, if you look, Stacey, in the team of the tournament, that is the best 11 for the tournament, South Africa is represented there with the 4 players, including Fletcher, including Tylon Smith, the player of the tournament, and also one of the excellent defenders, Lazola Marco as well as Nawo Rapu. The boys, they fully understand what this means for the team, and also they've always been talking about unity. You don't get a situation where here there's maybe a single individual who's being highlighted over the team. Because
that is something that's
their brand of football.
Yeah, that's something that's come through so strongly.
A collective effort, and this is what it required for this team to achieve, because they've had some serious tough battles on their way to achieving the success that they've achieved here. And that most people have been complaining about what is perceived to be age cheating in the tournament. So it has not just been easy for them to overcome this. But I can tell you, these are the Warriors
Velile,
that will be sending also to Chile later this year.
Unfortunately, I've run out of time. Before I let you go quickly, can you just very succinctly tell me about Sundowns, obviously taking on Pyramids this Saturday in that first leg, and then we have received a request online about any updates that you may have around Bafana Bafana and Teboho Mokoena and that controversy, if you know anything. And then we have to unfortunately wrap it up.
Yeah, well, when it comes to the Tebogo Mokoena issue, I think anything until something's out there is speculative
Okay.
for now. But we've always maintained that that is going to be a very difficult case for Bafana, because I think the rules are very clear in that space. And also, when it comes to Sundowns, we're looking forward to them having a very good one in the first leg in Pretoria. You will know that the new trophy for the Champions League is being launched on Thursday, and also Sundowns. I do feel that they're coming to this game with a very good advantage, because here in Egypt right now, Pyramids is still involved in the title race, and on the 28th, just a few days before the second leg, they still have a crucial game to play. So it's all Sundowns for me.
Thanks, Velile. Thanks so much for talking to us. I think that is a vital point, that perhaps Pyramids FC are coming to South Africa, to Pretoria, not as rested as they would want to be. We've been chatting to SABC senior sports reporter Velile Mnyandu. He's still in Egypt. We're talking about Amajita, who arrived today at 10 o'clock in South Africa. That's it for your sports for this hour.